What's going on, everybody? In today's video we're going to take a look at Stronghold Digital Mining. They recently put out their earnings and they also gave an operational update, and we're also going to take a look at it as well as Bitcoin on the chart. Now I'll leave this down below for you. It's basically their earnings and operational update, and they do have a new hash rate goal. They expect to achieve a hash rate of 4 exahash by September, which is a month earlier than their previous guidance and 4 months earlier than the guidance that they provided back in March. And they also procured over 14,000 Bitcoin miners between April of 2023 and July of 2023, which provides a hash rate right around 1.6 exahash, and they expect all of those machines to be energized by the beginning of September. Now 8,000 of those miners are wholly owned, while 6,000 of them are hosted as part of the Canaan Bitcoin mining agreement. Now I want to bring up how much Bitcoin they mined during the quarter. They did mine 626, and you might be thinking, well, that's not a whole lot. That's right around how much CleanSpark mines in 1 month. Well, keep in mind, CleanSpark is a $700 million company, while this is like a $40 million company. So they're mining right around a third of what CleanSpark is mining, while being right around 20th of the market cap. And revenue wise, they're right around a third of CleanSpark as well. They pulled in revenue of 18.2 million and took a net loss of 11.7 million. Now they don't just make money from Bitcoin mining alone, they also make money from their energy as well, although that is a very small portion of revenue. Now we'll look at the chart in a second and I'll show you how much this has fallen, but one reason this is at such a small market cap to how much Bitcoin they're mining is likely because of their cash balance and debt. They have about 60 million in debt, and they're sitting at about 5.6 million in cash equivalents, and Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So the fact that they're unprofitable right now and have a bit more debt than cash brings a lot of worry to this stock, and that's likely why it's traded at such a low market cap compared to how much hash rate they're at. So just based on the fact they're not profitable, that they have a relatively high amount to debt compared to the cash they have, that definitely makes this relatively high risk. The fact that they took only an $11 million loss this quarter, and next quarter they expect about 7 million more in revenue than they had this quarter, means that those losses every quarter should go down quite a bit. Perhaps next quarter, we see that they're only at a $4 or $5 million loss. And that's just with Bitcoin at current prices. If Bitcoin were to move up, to 35,000, 40,000, Stronghold Digital Mining may post an actual profit. So while it is relatively high risk, I do see quite a bit of opportunity as Bitcoin potentially raises in price. But looking at the chart, you can see on the EMAs, we are definitely bearish, although the 50 is working on breaking over the 100. And the moving averages actually look quite a bit better. We are actually facing a potential golden cross, and all it really needs is a little bit of an upward push to get there. You can just see how close these lines are from flipping. So one potential entry point is on the actual golden cross. If you see a flip of these moving averages, it could be a good time to enter Stronghold Digital Mining. Now I did want to pull up the Bitcoin rainbow chart. You can see each of these colors represents a certain level, a certain either time to buy or time to consider selling. And according to this chart, we are still at a buy for Bitcoin. And more importantly, what you can see is these blue lines here are the halvings. And typically you see an anticipatory run up to the halving and then a blast off after the halving. We are literally only months away from that potentially happening with Bitcoin. And this will massively help all of the Bitcoin miners out there. Now you might be saying, well, after the halving, they're gonna mine half as much Bitcoin. And while that is true, Bitcoin's price should be more than double within months after the halving. So overall, this is a net gain for these Bitcoin miners. And I'll give you a few examples. You can see back in 2015, before the 2016 halving, back in August, Bitcoin was around $260 in price. Shortly after, it was more than 3 times the value, meaning that even though rewards got cut in half, Bitcoin's price tripled and went on to go even more than triple. And looking back in August of 2019, before the 2020 halving, Bitcoin was right around $10,000. Shortly after that, it doubled in price, and then soon after went all the way to $60,000, about a 6x from August before the halving. So I do expect the halving to have a similar effect. And while Bitcoin miners will receive half the rewards, Bitcoin, if looking at history, should soon after the halving be more than triple in value. So despite rewards getting cut in half, typically Bitcoin's price outperforms that, and it ends up being worthwhile. I do expect that to be what we'll see again, and we are once more just a few months from the halving. And even with this run up from 15,000 nearly to 30,000, Bitcoin is still screaming buy. and we do have a tightening up of the chart on Bitcoin. I do think if we do pull back, we'll probably test somewhere around 28,000. This is right where the 200 MA is, and it's also the support level on this ascending line here that we've touched on 3 times already. Now if we start pushing higher, we do have a resistance right around $31,600 or so. But regardless of what Bitcoin does on the short to midterm, I do think now is one of the best times to buy Bitcoin in anticipation of the halving that's only a few months from now. Now what do you guys think about Stronghold Digital Mining? While their balance sheet is somewhat rough, having more debt than cash, we should see an increase in hash rate, an increase in revenue, and hopefully a tightening of those losses. They only lost $11 million in the quarter reported, and with a push up on Bitcoin and an increase in mining revenue, we may very likely see this company become profitable within a few quarters. But let me know what you guys think about that. Watch for a flip of the moving averages. That could be a great entry point for Stronghold Digital Mining. Thanks as always, guys, and I'll catch you later.